You're going to be okay. So today, I'm going to talk about therapists. I have a hate-love relationship with therapists because um, no one really told me how to look for one properly. So that's what we're going to talk about. Disclaimer, not a therapist, not an expert, just somebody who's gone through a lot of stuff and, learned a few tricks here and there and trying to reach other people and get them to, get past their issues. So therapists are, it's kind of a stigma, unfortunately, for them and for us. The whole, shrink, therapist, and it's so scary that somebody's going to therapy, and maybe they have, deep-seated issues, and it's really not the case. I mean, if you were to look at it from, a long-term like view, therapists are just there to kind of help you to find the tools to work through your issues and not say the wrong things. It's really what, they should be doing, is not saying the wrong things. They may not necessarily say the right things, but they will help you think of the right things. And that's what therapists are supposed to be doing. And when I say therapist, I mean, in any type, like whether it's a counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever word you want to put on it, depends on, what level of issue you're going through. That's not for me to say. So I'm just going to use the word therapist. So finding a therapist is not easy. I look at it like dating. I really, really do. So, you go on a date, you kind of, put your feelers out, and it's like, okay, well, I hate their office. This is pretty stupid, it doesn't feel like anything that I want to be around. And if you're uncomfortable in their office, that is a red flag. And you should just, mentally note that, like, I'm not comfortable in their office. And then move forward from there. Like, okay, well, they're talking to me condescendingly. Okay, just strike it off, just move on to the next person. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe you're having a bad day and you're projecting onto them. And, that's just, that you can't move past that. Once you've kind of made your initial response, initial first sort of, is this person for me, there's really no backtracking from a lot of that. So, when you are seeking a therapist, don't think of it as, I'm only going to find one therapist and that's it. You're literally going to go through 3, 4, 5 different people to get the right person that understands what you're going through and has experience with what you're going through and is not going to rub you the wrong way. And that's the big one. I've had therapists that I explain to them my issue, like, hey, I have issues with people yelling at me. I don't like it. It really rubs me wrong. So what does the therapy person not supposed to do? Yell at you. So what does this one do? He yells at me. So, that was a really rough experience because I was trying really hard in my early 20s to, break out and learn more and figure out, like, how do you even get past certain things, and his initial response was some of the top 10 that I've had in a previous video, which I'll link up there, which is the top 10 things don't say to depressed people. Basically, he just said, oh, we should just get some exercise. And I was like, great, later, I'm out of here. So you really have to just think of it as, you're both interviewing each other. It's not just one or the other. It's not you there seeing if they'll take you. You are there to find the person that will help you, and that's what it really boils down to. As far as, searching for therapists and finding therapists, that's also a tough one. I would recommend reaching out to whatever's on your, health insurance accepted list, and then branch out from there. If you don't have that, ask around. And if you have to go to Google, that's going to be tough because, you're basically relying on the internet, review people, which, what are you going to do? So, and if you're getting to that point, don't think of it as like a one deal thing. Like, go to one, spend, their hour with them, go to a different one, spend your hour with them. Don't stick with one just because that's the first one you went with. If you get lucky, awesome. Seriously, like stick with it. But if it doesn't feel right, don't get mad, don't get frustrated, don't give up. And that's gonna be the hard one. Don't give up just because you have but one bad experience. I had to go through 3 or 4 different people in order to get the right person to hear me in the right way, and that's because they may not have the necessary skills to, deal with whatever issues that you have to deal with. I've had to deal with a lot of issues that I don't even want to talk about. But abuse is a big deal. Growing up in a broken home is a big deal. Like these things, really take a toll. And the therapists that don't understand those things and how it affects children or how it affects adolescents, they're not going to be able to help you properly. They're going to be giving you blanket statements. They're going to be giving you, whatever it is that they learned in school or whatever course that they took. And so they're going to give you a blanket statement. So that should be part of your question. So with that, here are some of the questions that you should be asking, right? Number 1, do you have experience with XYZ, whatever it is that you are going through? Number 2, how long have they been doing it? And don't get me wrong, there are some people that, do it for 5 years and are great at it. But at the same time, if they do it too long, they might be very calloused as far as their approach, which may be good or bad. So that's just part of your understanding, where they are and how long they've been doing it. Another very good question is going to be on your side, whether you prefer male or female. Males talk differently than females talk, and that's just a fact. That's just how it is. And on top of that, your reaction to the same sex or opposite sex also has to do with how you're going to open up to that person. So you have to be very aware of that. Like you feel it out, go to a female therapist, go to a male therapist and see which one kind of gels better. Another good question would be distance, how far are they, because when you really boil your life down, you're going to be like, oh, well, it's an hour away. I don't feel like going. I don't want to go an hour away, right? So then you're just going to, fall back on laziness and you're not going to go. So try to keep it, within a reasonable distance. Another good one is asking them what type of therapy they provide, whether it's, whether they give you homework to, research things, or whether it's just like, hey, we're just going to show up and talk for, 45 minutes about your mom and how that makes you feel, So you really have to understand what it is that you're looking for and what they can provide. So therapists are, it's a big deal, definitely a big deal. And even people who are just sorting through regular life need somebody to talk to who are not going to not text back or not call back when you need help. And that's the big one. And that's why I recommend people to have therapists and not rely on friends and family for these things. Life gets busy. Your friend may not be able to answer your call when you need it, or, see you once a week or twice a week or whatever it is that you need. But therapists do, and that's what they're there for. They're there to help you. But I think that the biggest deal for you is going to be that they're there to give you the tools to move forward, not there to, give you a magic pill and give you a phrase, that just works. So I hope that helps somebody out there looking for therapists. Definitely good luck. It's not easy, and you're going to be okay.